Yeah, my dad is like when they came to Israel, there was like no country, no country, no country.
You served in the military, and your whole family served in the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was your experience in the military?
It was okay.
What did you do? What was your role in the military?
At first, I was given a role that was like in an office. There was some sort of a small war
Yeah.
when I was there, and so my job was to like when they send officers or like people to go serve, I had to like logistically help with like their hotel or a room,
Okay.
things like that. But it was all on the computer. It just felt like some computer thing.
Right. Okay. So
Like-
secretary.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it was super boring and super boring and super boring, and I really hated it. Because it was just like I had to take a bus super early, go there, spend the whole day, go back home. I hated it. So I tried to change my role. And it was something like you can apply for it, and it's a form that you fill out, and then they're going to give you something else, completely random. You have
Different
no
position.
idea.
Different post.
Yeah.
Different location.
So I decided to do that, and if I don't like the second one, then I'll just find a way to get out of the army.
It was that bad.
Yeah, I just didn't. I hated everything about it. Didn't want to do it. Because if you're doing something that it felt like I wasn't doing anything, like I was just wasting my life.
Yeah.
It could get really frustrating. I don't know.
Right.
I filled out that form and I tried it, and then I somehow ended up in a better place that I liked a lot more. Before it was a daily thing where you go back home every day, and the new one was in a way that was a base that was far from my house. So you go there for the whole week, and then you come back for the weekend.
So you preferred that? Were you gone for a whole week?
I did.
Interesting. Why?
It was kind of like just more of an adventure, more of a different experience that I preferred than to just go to a boring job, sit on the computer, and go back home at the end of every day. I don't know.
Were you doing secretary work there?
So, yeah, I was the secretary of the head of the... there's like a... I don't know the terms in English from the army.
Right.
It's
He was
hard
an
to translate.
officer.
So there was I was in Duchifat, which is like a brigade, I guess, that's in charge of the area of Ramallah. And that brigade has like a main officer. So I was his secretary.
Okay, so you were right below the big boy. Cool.
So it was nice. It was
that come with-
interesting. It was more demanding in a way, but also kind of more rewarding because you're put in this weird situation. It's hard to explain, but for some reason it was more interesting. I enjoyed it more.
You told me once you went on like a mission with them to like a terrorist city.
Yeah.
That was kind of a crazy story.
Yeah, my officers and like the soldiers in that brigade, they would go every night on a raid in Ramallah to arrest terrorists. And so I always saw them preparing for it and leaving, and then I would stay in the base. So one time I wanted to go with them just to experience it.
Why? You just were all of a sudden had an urge to go with them?
I just wanted to see what it's like.
Right.
I wanted to see it.
Okay.
So they took me with them one night, even though they weren't supposed to. Yeah, my dad is like when they came to Israel, there was like no country, no country, no country.
Palestine went from this to this, and it didn't happen overnight. Up until the early 1900s, Palestine was part of the Ottoman Empire, a religiously diverse land where Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived alongside each other. Then, things begin to change. With the start of the Zionist movement in Europe calling for the establishment of an independent Jewish state, ideally in Palestine, the first wave of European Jews start to immigrate. By the end of World War I, the Ottoman Empire collapses and Palestine is under British rule. It's 1917. Britain declares its support for a Jewish homeland in Palestine. The number of Jewish settlers grow, fueling tensions between the Arabs and the Jews. The violence between the two sides caused Britain to bow out and let the UN take over. The UN approves of a plan to split Palestine into two states: Jewish Israel, Arab Palestine. The city of Jerusalem, which is sacred to Muslims, Christians, and Jews, is now a UN-controlled international zone. Jews accept the UN partition plan and declare independence as the State of Israel, but neighboring Arab countries object to the land takeover. This marks the beginning of the First Arab-Israeli War. Israel is victorious and makes a grab for the land intended for the Palestinian state under the UN. The land gets divided into three parts. Jordan occupies the West Bank and East Jerusalem, Egypt occupies Gaza, and the State of Israel takes 78% of historic Palestine, including West Jerusalem. 700,000 Palestinians become refugees as a result, and the day is remembered as Al-Nakba, the catastrophe. It's 1967. The Six-Day War breaks out between Israel and neighboring Arab countries, and by the end of it, the map looks something like this. Palestine is now fully occupied by Israel.